At 5:32 a.m. on a cold October morning, a man named Ethan Cole stood at the edge of his bed, staring at the floor with empty eyes. He wasn't thinking. He wasn't planning. He wasn't hoping. He was simply trying to remember how it felt to be alive. He was 42 years old, but that morning he felt 90. The weight of the world, the failures, the expectations, the debts, and the disappointments, they weren't on his shoulders. They were crushing his chest. Ethan had once been a rising star, a young, ambitious architect with dreams bigger than the skyline he wanted to design. But dreams are fragile things. They don't announce when they die. One day you believe you're on your way. The next day, you realize you've been standing still for years. And Ethan? He had been standing still for 8 long, silent years. 8 years since he lost his father. 8 years since he lost his job. 8 years since he lost his marriage. 8 years since he lost himself. That morning, the light leaking through the window felt like an intruder. Life went on outside: cars, footsteps, birds, other people with other stories. But inside Ethan's room, time was frozen. The only sound was the ticking of the cheap wall clock he bought when he first moved into the small, dim apartment. Tick. Job applications ignored. Tick. Unpaid bills. Tick. No calls from family. Tick. No purpose. Tick. No hope. He ran his fingers through his untrimmed beard and sighed. Another day was beginning, but for Ethan, days weren't markers of progression. They were reminders that he had survived another night he didn't know what to do with. He stood up slowly, joints aching from a body molded by stress rather than age. He walked to the bathroom, stared into the mirror, and saw an expression that even he didn't recognize anymore. His eyes were tired, in a way sleep could never fix. He whispered, "What happened to you, Ethan?" The mirror had no answer. But life? Life was preparing one. Chapter 2. The Accident. People say tragedies come uninvited, but the truth is, tragedy doesn't need an invitation. It finds you. It waits for the moment you're weakest, then knocks on your door like an old friend. For Ethan, tragedy arrived at 7:14 a.m. He left his apartment to walk to a nearby cafe. Not for breakfast, he barely ate in the mornings. He just needed coffee, something warm to hold that reminded him he still had hands, still had a pulse, still had something resembling a life. He walked with his head down as he always did. The world was easier to face when you didn't look at it. That's why he didn't see the car. It came around the corner too fast. A driver half awake, half late, and fully distracted by a buzzing phone. The tires screeched, people screamed, and Ethan turned just in time to feel everything go black. When he opened his eyes again, he was lying on the cold pavement. A ring of faces hovered above him, strangers with fear in their expressions. He tasted blood. His right leg felt like it didn't exist. The sky looked heavier than usual. Someone yelled, "Don't move." Someone else shouted for an ambulance. Ethan didn't speak. He couldn't speak. His mind was blank, floating between pain and unconsciousness. He felt himself slipping away. He wondered if it would hurt to die. He wondered if anyone would care. "Sir, stay with us. You're going to be okay." The voice sounded like it belonged to someone who actually believed that. Ethan didn't. And then the world vanished again. Chapter 3. The Hospital. When Ethan woke up, he was surrounded by machines humming, buzzing, beeping. A nurse stood at the foot of the bed, checking a monitor. "Good morning, Mr. Cole," she said with a warm smile. "You're awake." He looked around, disoriented. "Where?" "You were hit by a car. You've been unconscious for 11 hours. You're very lucky." Lucky. He almost laughed. His right leg was wrapped from thigh to ankle in thick white bandages. His ribs were tightly compressed. His shoulder was immobilized. He felt like every muscle in his body was on fire. "Will I walk?" he asked. "Yes," the nurse said gently, "but not without work." The doctor came shortly after. He explained the fractures, the bruising, the torn ligaments. Then he said something Ethan didn't expect. If your body wasn't already weakened by stress, lack of sleep, and malnutrition, your injuries would have been less severe. Ethan looked away. The doctor continued, "The accident didn't break you, Ethan. Life broke you before the car ever touched you." Those words sliced deeper than any wound. Chapter 4. The Visitor. 2 days later, a stranger walked into Ethan's room. A tall man with calm eyes, a steady walk, and a presence that filled the room like quiet thunder. "My name is Adam Hart," he said. "I was the first person who reached you after the accident." Ethan nodded weakly. "Thank you." Adam pulled up a chair. "I came here to tell you something." Ethan braced himself. He didn't have energy for lectures or pity. But Adam wasn't here to give either. He leaned forward and said, "When I saw you on the ground, you were bleeding. You were broken. But do you know what I kept thinking?" "What?" Ethan whispered. "That this man has a lot more story left in him." Ethan looked away. "You don't know me." Adam smiled. "Maybe not, but I know broken men. I used to be one." Ethan turned back, meeting his eyes for the first time. Adam continued, 10 years ago, I lost everything. My job, my home, my wife. I lived out of my car for 2 months. I almost ended my life. But one lesson saved me something my mentor taught me." Ethan waited. Adam said, "Divide your day into 8 plus 8 plus 8. 8 hours of work, 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of growth." Ethan frowned. "Growth?" Adam nodded. "Not entertainment, not wasting time, growth. Family, faith, fitness, health, habits, skill building, your 3 F's, 3 H's, and S's." He continued, "This formula rebuilt my life. It can rebuild yours." Then he stood up. "I'll come again tomorrow." Ethan didn't stop him. Chapter 5. The First Step. Adam returned the next morning carrying a notebook. "Today," he said, "we start." Ethan scoffed. "I can't even walk." Adam smiled. "You don't need legs for the first step, Ethan. You need honesty." He opened the notebook. "Tell me," Adam said, "what happened to you?" Ethan didn't want to answer, not because he didn't know, but because he did. But Adam waited, patient, quiet, unmoving. Something inside Ethan cracked open, and the story poured out. He talked about his father, the man who believed in him more than anyone, who died suddenly, leaving Ethan with guilt heavier than grief. He talked about losing his job because of a merger he didn't see coming. He talked about the divorce, the nights he cried alone, the days he couldn't get out of bed. He talked about stopping life without dying. When he finished, he expected Adam to judge him, to scold him, to say, "You should have been stronger." Instead, Adam said, "You survived all that. That means you're stronger than you think." Ethan felt something he hadn't felt in years. Hope, a small, fragile flame, but real. Chapter 6. The Rule Begins. Adam introduced the 8-8+8 plan. 8 hours of work. But I don't have a job, Ethan said. Adam replied, your recovery is your job now. Work meant physical therapy, mental exercises, reading, strengthening routines, rebuilding discipline, 8 hours of sleep. Your body heals when you rest. Your mind resets. Sleep is non-negotiable. 8 hours of growth. Family, faith, friends, health, habits, hobbies, skills. Ethan asked, what if I don't have any of those left? Adam said, then we build them. Chapter 7. The Pain. Recovery was brutal. Physical therapy was an enemy disguised as medicine. Every stretch felt like torture. Every movement felt impossible. There were days Ethan screamed into a pillow so no one would hear him. There were nights he cried until sleep forced him into silence. There were mornings he wanted to quit. One day he broke down. I can't do this. He shouted at Adam. Adam didn't flinch. He simply said, you've done harder things. Like what? Ethan demanded. Adam leaned forward. Like surviving your darkest days. Like waking up when life gave you no reason to. Like telling your story when you wanted to hide. Ethan felt the truth stick in his throat. Adam continued. Pain is the price of rebirth. Keep paying. Chapter 8. The Return of Life. Weeks passed. Something inside Ethan shifted. He started waking up before the alarm. He started eating real meals. He started reading again books he used to love. He started calling his mother. He started journaling. He started breathing differently. And one morning, he stood on his own, without the support bar, without the nurse. Without fear, he cried. Adam smiled. See? Adam said. You were never broken. You were buried. And you dug yourself out. Chapter 9. The New Ethan. Months later, Ethan walked out of the hospital. Not perfectly, not quickly, but proudly. He felt the sun differently. Warmer, closer, friendlier. He rebuilt relationships. He learned new skills, designed software, business planning, fitness training. He built habits, morning routines, meditation, gratitude, journaling. He applied again for architecture jobs, and this time he believed he deserved them. And then he got hired, not at a big company, not at a dream firm, but at a place that believed in him. That was enough. More than enough. Chapter 10. The Final Lesson. One evening, a year after the accident, Ethan invited Adam to his new apartment. It wasn't fancy, it wasn't expensive, but it was his. A symbol of a man who rebuilt himself. As they sat at the table, Ethan said, You saved me. Adam shook his head. No, you saved yourself. I just handed you the shovel. Ethan smiled. But your rule, the 8-8, it changed everything. Adam leaned back. It's not just a rule, it's a balance sheet of life, he continued. 8 hours of work. Because purpose feeds the soul. 8 hours of sleep. Because rest repairs the body the world tries to break. 8 hours of growth. Because the world only improves when you do. Ethan whispered, I wish I had learned it earlier. Adam shook his head. You learned it when you were ready. Then he said something Ethan would never forget. Life does not break you to end you. Life breaks you to shape you. Ethan felt tears rise. Adam stood to leave, but before he did, he said, "Now go, Ethan. Build something, not a building. A legacy." Epilogue: The man who refused to break. Years passed. Ethan became more than an architect. He became a mentor, a coach, a speaker, a voice for those who felt lost. He started teaching the 8-8+8 rule to others, to broken men, tired women, hopeless teenagers, and anyone who felt life slipping through their fingers. And slowly, magically, beautifully, he watched lives change, not because of him, but because of themselves. One night, standing in front of an audience of 700 people, Ethan said, "I used to think my story ended in a hospital bed, but that was just the intermission. Your story isn't over. It hasn't even begun." The crowd fell silent. He continued, "If you feel lost, start with 8. Add 8 more, then 8 more. Do that every day, and watch how life bends in your favor." Then he smiled, a real smile, a smile he hadn't worn in 8 years. And he said, "I am Ethan Cole, the man who refused to break. And so are you. Success isn't built in chaos, it's built in structure. 8 hours to work, 8 hours to rest, 8 hours to grow. Master this rhythm, and you master your life